This is A Way to a Wonderful Life, and I am Reverend Dr. Henry Lee Bates, live from Palm Springs, California, teaching the evolutionary, science of mind, and the philosophy of the Mastermind Jesus. And this program is live, and today we're continuing with our Jesus and the Science of Mind series, and we're on the fourth introductory chapter of the Science of Mind, which gives us the essence of the Science of Mind. And in this chapter, we learn how to use it, how to use it. And I have some words here from Dr. Ernest Holmes. He writes, "It has been proved that by thinking correctly and by a conscious mental use of the law of mind, we can cause it to do definite things for us, through us. By conscious thinking, we give conscious direction to it, and it, consciously or unconsciously, responds to our advance along the line of our conscious or subjective direction. It must and will respond to everyone because it is law, and law is no respecter of persons. We are surrounded by an intelligent force and substance, which we call God, from which all things come, the ultimate essence, and the invisible and subjective world of all visible and objective forms and conditions. It is around us in its original state, ready and willing to take form to the impulse of our creative belief. It works for us by flowing through us. This law we did not create. This law we cannot change. We can use it correctly only as we understand and use it according to its nature." That's from Dr. Ernest Holmes and the Science of Mind, page 52. And then I have a quote here from the Mastermind Jesus, and this is from the Holy Bible, the book of Luke, 13:20 through 21. And again he said, "Whereunto shall I liken the kingdom of God? It is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal till the whole was leavened." In other words, Dr. Holmes and the Mastermind Jesus are giving us the same idea in a different way, that we take an idea into our mind, something that appeals to us. It flows through our mind. We become aware of it, and we say, this is the thing that I want to do. This is the thing that I want to have, or this is the thing that I want to be. And then I let that idea grow in my mind. I keep faith with that idea. I keep that idea between me and God. You know, that's the secret. That's the true secret of spiritual demonstration, is to keep what it is that's between us and God, and let it have that power, that God energy, to magnetize everything around us, that draws everything to us, that everything that we need to know, everything that we need to do, everything that we need to have, the idea for it, the opportunity for it, the support for whatever that idea is that we are to do, all that comes to us as we allow this power to move through the cosmos so that it can support us in the good that we choose to do. In other words, we are using this law of God, we're using this universal law, and how to use it is to understand that it's a weaving of love and law through a universal energy. That it's a force. It's an energetic force. It's a force of energy that not only creates, it's a force of energy that moves and compels people to do all the things necessary to support us in the good, to support us in that thing that we have faith in, that thing that takes nothing away from anyone else, to support us in doing it and being it and having it. So we must know that this is a mental law. It's a mental law, and it's a universal law. And as Dr. Holmes tells us, it's no respecter of persons. Just like the Mastermind Jesus said, it rains on the good and the bad alike. That this law of God is just like nature. It's just like gravity. It responds to each of us in the way in which we activate it. We can activate it for our good, or we can activate it for something destructive. And it is a powerful law. It's powerful when it's destructive, and it's powerful when it's creative and constructive. But we must know that we must increase that idea within our mind in order for it to be outpictured in our life, that we must trust and have faith that there's that something for us that's going to work for us, and that thing that we call God, that spirit, that creative mind, that creative energy is always working for us. It's always around us, just like the air that we breathe. It's pressing against us. It's flowing through us. It surrounds us. It's above us. It's below us. It's everywhere present, because God is omnipresent. And we hear we read in the book of Isaiah, besides me there is none other. In other words, everything is God energy waiting for us to take that idea and hold it in our mind and see it the way God sees it for us, see it the way that we want to experience it, and let that idea outpicture and unfold in divine law and order into our experience, and keep faith with it all the way and affirm that it is, no matter what the appearance may be, no matter what it is that we see in our world of experience, no matter what our conditions in the world are trying to tell us. Don't let anything contradict our good, and allow it to unfold in the right and perfect time, in the right and perfect way, and we will see the demonstration of the good that we seek to experience. But we must have faith with it. We must have authority over our mind. We must not let our mind dwell on concern, not let our mind dwell on doubt, not let our mind dwell on the things of the world that tell us that we can't have that greater success, that we can't have that greater prosperity, that we can't have that greater joy, that greater peace, that greater health, that greater love, whatever it is that we seek to demonstrate through this love and law that God has given us, this law that's universal for all of us to use. But we can't have it if we keep looking for someone else to give it to us. Jesus is not going to give it to us. The Buddha is not going to give it to us. Krishna is not going to give it to us. We must use the law ourselves. That's why the mastermind Jesus gave us this mental law, gave us this law of mind, when he said, and he said this in a very dynamic way, it is done unto you as you believe. It's done unto you as you believe. In other words, it's not done unto you as Jesus believes. It's done unto you as you believe. That's why when the mastermind Jesus, as we can read in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, every time before he healed anyone, before he saw this healing taking place, I should say, before he allowed that healing to move through his consciousness for anyone, he asked them, do you believe? Do you have faith? Because if they don't agree with whatever it is that's going through the consciousness of the one doing the healing, then they can't find their healing, because nobody can heal anyone that keeps holding on to doubt and worry and fear and keeps holding on to the problem. You know, the other morning, Creflo Dollar said that if you want to think about a devil, think about the devil within you. That's that negative thought within us. That's the thing that negates our good. That's the thing that tells us that we can't have something, or we can't be something, or we can't do something. That's why the mastermind Jesus said, get thee behind me, Satan. In other words, get thee behind my mind, get in the back of my thought, get out of my awareness, get out of my conscious mind, because I'm looking towards God, I'm looking towards the good, I'm affirming the good, I'm trusting in the good, and I know that the good is supporting me in all the good that I seek to do and to be and to have. And we must affirm that as well. We must know it, and we must speak our word with authority, Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away, declared the mastermind Jesus. Nothing, none of our words spoken towards the good, spoken towards that which gives us a better experience in life, which allows the Spirit to enjoy life through us in a greater way. None of those words shall pass away until we contradict them, until we stop them from moving through this energy, through this life force, through this universal love and law that allows us to demonstrate the good that we want, to see the good results of our prayers, to see the things that we seek, to see the things that we ask for, to see them materialize and actualize in our experience. But it's up to us to keep the law working for us. As Dr. Holmes tells us, we can go back and look at the book of Psalms 19:7. The law of the Lord is perfect. The law of the Lord is perfect. And that law of the Lord is our law of mind. It's that done unto you as you believe. That didn't originate with Jesus. He just brought it out in a more dynamic way, and he demonstrated it in his experience. He demonstrated it because he believed in God. He believed that God was all. He believed that it is the Father that doeth the work. The Father works and then I work. He believed because he said, don't call me good, only the Father is good. In other words, only that Creator, that thing we call God, that Father, that first cause, that principle that responds to us, that's the only good we can ever depend on. That's the only good we can ever truly trust in, because it is no respecter of persons. It doesn't judge us on whether we've been good or bad. It doesn't judge us on whether we come from an experience of poverty or an experience of sadness and sickness. It doesn't judge any of that. All it takes is that affirmation of a greater good, that affirmation of an increased good, that affirmation of knowing that we are in the presence of God, and in the presence of God that all good that we desire, all the good that we desire to experience, to be and to have, we can have it as long as we hold ourselves in the awareness consciously of that being in that presence of God. And that's why in the Science of Mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes discovered the way in which Jesus prayed. He discovered the way in which Jesus aligned his mind with God's mind, with the mind of God, so that he could demonstrate healing, so he could demonstrate prosperity, so he could demonstrate all the things that he asked for, and knew that God would answer those prayers, respond to those prayers in the affirmative. And so that's why Dr. Ernest Holmes, after discovering this method in which Jesus prayed, teaches spiritual treatment, teaches us to affirm and to know that when we ask, we claim. When we seek, we find. But we must find it in our mind first. When we open our mind to God, wonderful and beautiful things happen for each and every one of us. When we open our mind to God, God will take that small thing, as we discussed in our prior lessons, that small mustard seed of faith, and expand it and grow it into something just truly miraculous and wonderful in our lives, if we let it. But we got to get out of the way and let it do its perfect work. Once again, as the Mastermind Jesus said, it is done unto you as you believe. So as we believe in the good, as we believe in the omnipresence of God, as we believe in the omnipotence of God, that is the presence and the power of God right where we are, the presence and power of God working for us, supporting us through this universal law of love and of love and law, and this universal, I should say, combination of love and law, weaving it through our consciousness, then we will find that as we align ourselves intelligently in prayer, as we intelligently seek something that's for our good, intelligently we can reason out and know that the consequences of it will be good for not only us, but for all those around us, then we will establish and embody within our mind this law. We'll establish this law of mind, which is aligned with the God mind, and we will see the demonstration of that good in the right and perfect time. And that's why we read in the Scriptures, pray without ceasing, and that means we are to be conscious of our thoughts, conscious of the things that we hold in our mind that we believe, conscious of all that stuff that we hear out in the world, and reject the idea that somehow we're outside of the kingdom of God, because the Mastermind Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is within you, and he was telling us it's within your mind. So stir up that kingdom of God within you. Stir up that idea of good. Stir up that idea of having a greater health, a greater wealth, a greater joy, a greater relationship, a greater experience of life. Stir that up in your mind until you find something within your thoughts, something within your imagination that truly appeals to you, and feel a zest and a zeal for life, for experiencing that thing, and allow yourself to see yourself mentally experiencing that very thing. And when you can see it, you can be it, because the mind of God will respond to that thing that you hold in your mind as an absolute truth for you, if we will just allow ourselves to reject everything else that we hear that tells us that we can't have it. We don't have to get on our knees to God. We're created in the image and the likeness of God. We don't have to beg God. We are created in the image of likeness of God. We're not created in the image and likeness of a beggar. We're not. We must stand firm in our authority. We must know that God, all the way back to the book of Genesis, we can read that we've been given dominion and authority over our life in this experience, that God has given us free choice to choose how we're to live our life, to choose how we're to express this life that God has gifted us with. So whenever we think about how we use this affirmative prayer, when we think about how we use this spiritual treatment, we must realize that there's a consequence to everything, and so we want to align ourselves with the good so that we at the same time are aligning ourselves with a good consequence and know that we can affirm it, that heaven and earth shall pass away. That means all the things in the world that I care about or concerned about or trying to tell me that I can't have something, that will pass away. All the good feelings about life will pass away if I don't allow myself to affirm and to experience the good new idea that comes to me to experience. Because all the old joy we had 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, whatever it may be, maybe 3 days ago, that's gone. That's already gone. We have to have a new joy today. We have to have a new experience today. We have to have a new feeling of love in our heart today. We have to have a new feeling of happiness in our heart today. We must know and we must negate anything that tries to tell us that we're not part of God, that we're not in the presence of God, that there's not good for us, and allow ourselves to just let that good come through our mind in a greater way, in a more wonderful way, in a more joyous way, in a more godly way, because all the good that we can imagine is coming from one source, from God. As the Mastermind Jesus stated, all that the Father hath is mine. But we must know and we must understand that we're part of this abundance that God is. We're part of this life that God has created. We're part of this wonderful experience that we call life on this planet, that God has created everything good that we can imagine for us to experience it and us to enjoy it. But we're the ones that must accept it and receive it. We're the ones that must get past that old stuff of thinking that we don't deserve something. We must affirm and we must know that not only is there God, not only is God wonderful, not only is